Well, welcome back to the Added Time podcast with me, Alan Myers, and my co-host Tony Grant. Coming up this week, we've got quite a programme for you. Actually, we're going to be speaking a little bit later on to Everton midfielder Tim Iroegbunam in an exclusive interview with us, where he talks about life at Everton. David Moyes is here now. How have you found David Moyes and his management style?
To be fair, I do enjoy working with the gaffer. You know, he really encourages you to, play good football, and like he won't accept like sloppy giveaways. So it's just encouraging that, every little fine detail, the technical bits are, important. And when you hear that from your gaffer, it shows like how much he really like respects the in possession work alongside the out possession work too.
We'll also be making our predictions, of course, and we'll have a great competition prize after the Tim Iroegbunam competition with this. This is a signed shirt by the Everton man. So if you want to win that, all you have to do is like and subscribe. And also, talking of competitions, we've got that fantastic Christmas competition. Here it is. Hi, Alan Myers here from the Added Time podcast to tell you about a great competition we've got for you just in time for Christmas. You and a friend have the chance to be at the Hill Dickinson Stadium to watch Everton against Wolverhampton Wanderers on January the 7th in the company of myself and my co-host, former Everton midfielder Tony Grant. He'll talk the tactics. I'll just go and get the drinks and the food at half-time. If you want to be in the draw, it's very simple. Just like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, The Added Time Podcast, and you're in the hat. We'll pick a winner around the 22nd of December. Good luck, and we'll see you soon. But before all that, we're going to be talking football and the weekend's games with Tony Grant. And Tony, what was the standout game for you?
I think we were all eyes on Liverpool, Al, and how they were going to react to the negativity that's been in the press from ex-players, from all the press, about the manager, about performances. So I think everyone was looking at that game, to be honest with you. I know it was on the Sunday, but that was the big game for me. Leading into it, there was that much negativity around the club at the time. I think playing away from home probably was a blessing in disguise for the players, to be honest with you. And then the manager made a big play by not playing the star player, which is
Salah.
Mo Salah. Yeah.
Was that not before time? Is that too harsh on Mo Salah to say that?
Well, it's harsh. I think when you're the leader of the team, which is what the manager has, which what he is, at certain times it's great when all the players are playing great, and everyone's doing what they should do. But then all of a sudden they've been hit with defeat after defeat after defeat, and you've got to make a decision, or another defeat could come on the way. And in the end, it was a huge decision. I know they've come out and said squad rotation, and time will tell on it. Performances will tell. But I watched the game and they were comfortable. Liverpool, they were really, really comfortable. And is this them kickstarting a new run?
It's the first time, really, though, isn't it, that he's had to make what you would call big decisions, big calls, and and I think he had to make some big calls, didn't he, to show that he was willing to mix it up, even though these star players are what they are.
Let's have it right. I mean, they won the league at a canter last year. All the teams close to them all faltered big time, so it was quite simple for them. It's just easy for them this year. Even at the start of the season, there was a lot of hiccups with the results they were getting. They weren't like straightforward game performances. And then obviously they took a lot of bloody noses, haven't they? But many teams that took bloody noses, it's how you react. And sometimes you're looking for that leader to make that decision. Now, is that a catalyst now for them to carry on and start winning? As I said, time will tell. I think they've got Leeds away next midweek.
Yep.
So Leeds are sitting in the bottom three. West Ham were fifth from bottom at the time. So I think if you're going to
I think it's Sunderland first before Leeds.
Is it?
So Leeds at the weekend, yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So these types of games, if you're going to try and win the league, you've got to pick up maximum points. Now, they've just dropped Mo Salah. The next role of the manager. Is he going to stay on the bench or is he going to play him? So it'll be interesting to watch it now. But that was probably the biggest performance I've seen on the weekend.
Of course, we must talk about Everton's game against Newcastle. I know you probably wouldn't want to, but we must. And manager came out at the end and said, that his team were not at Newcastle's level. It upset a few fans, I think. But there was a certain reality to what he's saying. Look, it's no excuse, is it, for a bad performance? No excuse for individual errors, which we saw in the game. But the reality is that Everton are not that. They're not. Newcastle are a Champions League team. They're not at that level at the moment.
Yeah, and we had a great result against Man U, didn't we? It's not often Everton go to Man U and get 3 points over the years. So does that mean we're as good as Man U or we're as big as Man U, or is it just because that day we got the 3 points, we played really well?
Yeah.
Fortune was favouring us. Everyone played great. And then you're going into Newcastle and you're thinking, well, we just beat Man U. We should beat Newcastle, but football just doesn't work that way. And if it did, everyone would have a great chance of winning the league, and they haven't, because history tells you there's only certain teams who normally win the league. Now, in my opinion, I think, I've said it all along, Newcastle's midfield, I think, is the best in the league, personally.
We spoke about that, didn't we, last week? Yeah.
I think that, and I think Tonali never played, did he? No. Young Miley played. I think it was always going to be a tough game for Everton. I actually didn't fancy Everton going into the game. I fancy Everton on Saturday, but I didn't fancy them going into that game. And you could easily argue why, couldn't you? That could be why don't you fancy us? Well, it's football. I've seen it millions of times. I've seen these teams are sort of transitioning. You just mentioned Champions League. Yeah. They've got an extra gear that you don't see. We don't watch them every week. You watch little snippets of Newcastle. But I've watched them more than most Evertonians would watch them, to be honest with you. And when you've got players like Bruno, Joe Linton, even the strikers come in, and he does what it says on the tin. He holds the ball up, but he's got a little bit more than that. In fact, a reporter asked him, "What if you had one word to describe it? What would you call it? What would you use?" And he said, "Technique." So you can see what he is. They've got wingers who've got pace and power. They've got fullbacks who bomb on. So they've got good players. So I understand what Moyes is saying. And I agree with Moyes. I don't think we're at that level. And it might take a few transfer windows to get to that level. But Everton are transitioning this year into a better footballing team. I think we had a spell in that game, Al, where we had the ball for, it seemed to be about 20 minutes. But we didn't really...
No, we never punished them, did we?
No, we didn't really.
Do you think he's sort of looking at some of the players he's got, and a lot of them are players he hasn't brought in, and probably thinking, this is not my team yet, and I want, okay, there's a number of players that he did bring in, but there's a lot of players in that team that he didn't bring in, which and of course he's not going to come out and say that these players are not good enough. But do you think there's a bit of that? He's letting people know that he sees something different with regards to Everton's squad.
Yeah, and in an ideal world, you do want to bring in your certain positions, your certain fullbacks, your certain wingers, or your strikers. You want to bring in what you want. And sometimes you can bring in players who you've put your name to, and they just can't do it. And that's football again. Every club has them. Players who just can't do it. I mean, you've seen Vertus come under a lot of stick right through the season. Yeah. He actually played well on Sunday. He was an important part of their result. So I think in the ideal world, of course, one thing Everton are doing this year, they are trying to play more football. They are passing the ball better. Most of the players are playing well, but they do lack that quality in the final third. They do.
Well, I mean, that's something that's been evident pretty much every game, isn't it? Even on Saturday, you could see, the only time it looked like a real threat was when Dewsbury Hall got in, or somebody else. There never seemed to be that pattern. And as much as Barry worked really hard and ran for everything. He still needs to get a goal. Unfortunate that the one he got, was handball. But there you go. But I mean, when you look at around the league again, Arsenal, Chelsea, it was. I keep saying Arsenal, Chelsea, Arsenal. Are you surprised at Chelsea this season? And they're a little bit inconsistent, but can they really challenge Arsenal for the top? Do you think?
Well, it looks like second, third, and fourth are all within a point or 2 points from each other. So I don't think anyone's really took the bull by the horns. Maybe Arsenal have. I think it's a good point for Arsenal because
Yeah.
Chelsea. Where did I see Chelsea start of the season? Even when teams like Chelsea don't have a great season, they nearly always finish in the top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So they're always going to be up there.
Mm.
So they've spent a hell of a lot of money. So it was Arsenal going away to Chelsea is always going to be a tough game. I think it's a good point for both teams, to be honest with you.
Mm. Okay, well, one of the things we saw at the weekend was with Donnarumma, and he went down with the ball, and of course the rule is that goalkeepers can't be taken off when they're injured, unlike outfield players. And some suggestions are that it was a ploy, because Pep wanted to get his players doing what he wanted to, he wanted to give them instructions and all the rest of it. I mean, Daniel Farke, who was the opposing manager on the day, has called for a law change, to not make that happen, because it does seem to be, I've seen it in the lower leagues quite a lot. Is it something you think that, is it, ungainly, unsportsmanlike?
What, like allowing once your goalie goes down, allowing your players to come to the sidelines for instruction?
Yeah, or even, a goalkeeper has to go off, I
Well,
don't know.
it's one of them things, isn't it? Your goalie, you can't take your goalie off and restart the game. I mean, to be honest with you, Al, I watched the Tottenham's game, and we spoke last week about Tottenham struggling, didn't we? And you're talking about goalies now. Well, the goalie's got a decision to make.
Yeah.
He's wide, and I'm thinking, where's this ball going? Kick it in the stands, son, or do something. Don't do what you do, what you've done. So what he done with his left foot, he passed the ball to a Fulham player, who, to be fair to him, had a nice touch, laid it to a guy who can use his left foot, and it was a fantastic goal. And you're looking at it, you're thinking, wow. So goalies do crazy things, and it costs goals. But to restart a game with a goalie on the sideline, I don't think that's going to happen. But we are in an era where we're talking about everything being quicker, and whether you allow players to go to the sidelines for a drink or not a drink or for instruction. In the summer, everyone was getting going for some water, weren't they? Now it's winter. Well, let's go over and see the manager because he's got to tell us something.
Let's get some hand warmers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It is. It's part of the game. So I think they call it the dark arts, don't they? And the other thing I wanted to pick up on this weekend, and it might be your rant this week, but we've seen you talked about the Tottenham goalkeeper, and he was booed during the game when that happened. After that happened, his own fans booed him, and Thomas Frank was quite frank, if you want, afterwards, saying, don't boo during the game. If you want to boo after the final whistle. It doesn't help the players. And I think Pedro Porro has since come out and said that they're not real Tottenham supporters who boo during the game. I mean, what's your take on that? Do fans have a right to do what they want during the game? Or is there an argument to say don't boo a player?
Well,
I mean, you've seen players down the years being booed while they're on the pitch.
I've been booed many a time on the pitch as the ball's coming.
I can't believe that.
I know, but I have. But you can't tell the fans anything, right? They have a right to because this country is almost built on football, and it's very tribal, and we bring our kids up to support who we support. Your kid doesn't, as soon as your kid's born, it's got a kit on it, up and down the country.
Very true.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's, what the fans bring is probably one of the reasons Sky Sport, the Premier League has grown as big as it's grown, and it's through the fans. It's the passion they show, the aggression at times, the limbs when they all score. Everyone talks about who's got the best limbs. How many thousands follow their teams up and down the country? Tuesday night, teams will be playing up and ends the country, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours 2,000, 3,000 fans there, get home at 5, 6 in the morning and go to work. They have a right to do what they want to do within reason. Booing's fine because it's part. If I go and watch a
But is it
theatre,
helpful though?
it's not helpful. No, of course it's not helpful. But Al, it's been ingrained in us as football fans from day one.
Yeah.
So
And it's a natural reaction, I think.
it's a
Sometimes,
natural
isn't it?
reaction. Yeah. So imagine
don't
saying to
think-
fans,
Yeah.
you can't boo.
Check your thoughts before you do
Well,
anything.
yeah,
It's
you know,
not gonna happen, is it?
We boo at oppositions, don't we?
Yeah,
When they're having a bad time. So you're going to stop that as well, then. So
Yeah.
it's not nice and it's hard to deal with it,
Mm.
but it's always been part and parcel of the game.
How do you deal with that as a player? I was listening to Martin Keown this morning on radio, and he was saying that I just cancel them out of my head if that happens, and I wish they would give their season ticket to somebody else. He said,
Well, I think that's a bit to give their season ticket to someone else. I mean, I've been booed probably just as much as Martin Keown, if not more, as a young kid coming through a big club. Half the time, it just goes through one ear and out the other ear.
because you're concentrating.
You're
too
just
much.
concentrating, yeah. It affects you when your confidence is low. So when your team aren't playing great or you're not playing great, it affects you. But that is football. That's how it's so hard to make it in football.
Yeah.
You build this resilience up. You build this attitude up, and to make it, you almost have to have the tools to get over all that. But it's not on the fans. If it was on the fans, it would not be the same football you go and watch.
I remember in the 1970s, actually, at Everton, we had a lad called Jim Pearson,
Yeah.
who you probably know,
Yeah.
and Jim would get booed when they read the teams out.
Yeah.
I mean, and that I always felt
Yeah.
terrible. In fact, I had an argument one day with the guy, sitting next to me in the Gladys Street stand, and I said to him, "Why are you doing that?" Like literally, you'd say number 10
Yeah.
or whatever, Jim Pearson, boo, and I thought that was crossing the line,
And it
because
is crossing the
the
line.
guy hasn't come on the pitch yet,
Correct. Listen, Al, booing, it's not great.
Mm.
It's not great. But it's what we do, isn't it? It's what fans do. Not all fans do it. There's plenty of fans who tell other fans off for doing it. And then you got to remember it's opinions game anyway.
Yeah.
That guy booing him might love this other player who that guy doesn't like, and it's like, well, this is just football. You just got to get on with it.
Well, listen, last week, and I must stress this interview was done before the game against Newcastle. Everton lost 4-1. But I sat down with Tim Iroegbunam, the Everton midfielder, and to talk about him, his life, what it's like at Everton at the moment, and we're going to hear from him now. Tim, thanks very much for joining us on the At a Time podcast. I really appreciate it. Just look at the season so far here. How do you feel? I mean, we saw what happened on Monday night and that camaraderie. Do you feel that within the camp here this season?
Obviously, everyone wants to do well. So when things happen on the pitch and people aren't happy, they're gonna cause a few heated moments. Obviously, it got a bit out of hand, but it just shows like how much everyone wants to do well. And in the end, we got the 3 points. So that is it.
In some ways, do you think that sort of made a difference, in the fact of, because all of a sudden it might have put pressure on Manchester United, to beat 10 men, but it seemed to bring an edge to Everton as well.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, when you go to 10 men, it's like you've got nothing else to lose, really. You can either just give up and call it a day, or you can, just do your best to get something out of it. And we rolled our sleeves up and we worked hard. We fought well, and we ended up getting a goal and hanging out to the end with the 3 points.
I know the manager said he likes it when his players fight. He likes to see an edge.
Yeah.
Is it better? Do you enjoy the game more when something happens, like a tackle or whatever?
Oh, definitely. Like even in training, like fouls don't get given. Like he wants everyone to, to be able to have their own, and it's just having that real hunger and aggression in the way you play. Yeah.
And yourself, I was sat at the game a few weeks ago. I can't remember the game now, and someone said we need to get Tim on to bolster the midfield. Is that how you see your game? And is that what you want fans saying?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I like to describe myself as an aggressive, dominant player. I like to, be on the front foot, win tackles. And then also on the other hand, I like to get on the ball and drive the team forward. So yeah, most definitely, yeah.
You've been here sort of a season and a bit now, haven't
Yeah.
you? How are you settled into the club? Have you got the feel of the club?
Yeah, definitely. You get that through the first few games, like at Goodison, like the atmosphere was amazing. Carried into this new stadium, atmosphere is amazing. It took me so quick to get involved. Yeah.
How was the whole Goodison, leaving Goodison for you and going into a new stadium? Do the players have to adapt to that as well as the fans?
I mean, obviously, for players that have played at Goodison for loads of years, it would have been different for me. But no, I feel like we adapted well. Like, we've had a good start in this new stadium, and the fans have been amazing. We've been doing well this season, so I don't think we've found it too difficult to into this one. Yeah.
And of course, you came in. Sean Dyche was the manager.
Yeah.
David Moyes is here now. How have you found David Moyes and his management style?
To be fair, I do enjoy working with the gaffer. He really encourages you to, play good football, and like he won't accept like sloppy giveaways. So it's just encouraging that, every little fine detail, the technical bits are, important. And when you hear that from your gaffer, it shows like how much he really like respects the in possession work alongside the out possession work too.
I know, as a journalist coming here, you have to be on your toes and do things right.
Yeah.
That's the sort of manager he is, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as the season ahead, what can Everton achieve this season, do you think?
Definitely, if we keep playing how we're playing, place in Europe, that's something we want to achieve. And I think if we keep, playing well and just doing what we're doing, that should be achievable here.
Yeah, and the new players have come in, Keenan, Jack, Tyler. How have they settled into the club? Because obviously you will be helping them to do
Yeah.
that.
Nah, they've settled in well. Obviously Jack's a character in himself, so it wouldn't have been hard for him. But now everyone's settled in well. Obviously there's the senior players, Skip and Taki. They help everyone settle in. I remember when I first joined, I was settled in within the first week because of them. So yeah, I feel like everyone's settled in nice. Yeah.
Did you know Jack from Villa days?
Obviously I knew him because we both grew up in Birmingham, but
Yeah.
when I joined Villa, he had left by then. Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Do you want to talk about yourself, if that's okay? You grew up with both parents who were deaf.
Yeah.
How big a challenge was that for you as growing up?
I mean, in terms of being confident and like, I was always a bit shy in terms of stuff like interviews. I wasn't really one to say, yeah, I'd want to do them because I wasn't really confident in speaking because obviously it was quite quiet at home.
Yeah.
But obviously it's all I ever knew, so I couldn't really tell you any different. Yeah.
I was going to say, you must know sign language.
Yeah.
Do you learn that sort of just by living with your parents, or do you actually go out and learn?
I never went out and learned. I'm not sure how I picked it. I think I just ended up picking it up. I don't remember taking any lessons or anything. Obviously, I've got an older sister, so I feel like she helps me learn. And obviously, my auntie lived with us when we was younger, so it must have been that, yeah.
And your parents, I guess, followed your career. Have they been very much involved in your career and your progression?
Yeah, most definitely. Like my dad come to all my games. Obviously, they'd pick me up from training, drop me to training. So yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Now, also, you have sort of a Nigerian background. The AFCON coming up soon. Is Nigeria something that you would be interested in taking an option? I mean, you've played England under 19s and done well with them.
Yeah. To be fair, I haven't really obviously it's a decision I'm gonna have to make at some point, but I haven't really thought about it much. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and whatever happens will happen.
I mean, Nigeria is one of the big boys, isn't it, in
In
African
Africa,
football?
yeah, most definitely, yeah.
You know, would it be something that would attract you?
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, like I know how like big of a nation they are, and I know how much it would mean to my dad as well if I went and played for them. So obviously, just gonna have to have a real good think about it. Yeah.
Might get some pressure from there then, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
As far as the AFCON is concerned, I mean, obviously we've got a couple of teammates, Senegalese teammates as well, and I think Beto, I don't know whether his side is involved, but is it something that you watch? Is it something is your dad, for instance, very interested in?
To be fair, yeah, I've watched AFCON many times. Obviously when Nigeria, I'm not sure they're in this year, but my dad does watch it, so yeah, I will be watching, yeah, definitely, and obviously watching to support Illy and Ghana. So yeah.
What a couple of things I've heard about you. Someone, little bird, has told me that you're a great gamer and you're the best at the club. Is that right?
Depends what game. Obviously, if you go on off recent results, then some people might beg to differ, but I would say so, yeah.
What does it give you, the gaming? I mean, you know, I'm at my age, I don't do gaming, as you can imagine. Maybe Monopoly every now and again at Christmas.
Yeah.
But what does it give you? Does it give you that sort of time away from football?
Yeah, it's more like a switch off. Like I play literally every day. As soon as I get home from training, I'll switch off and play PlayStation. That's just my like way to just switch off and relax. And obviously I communicate with my friends on there as well. So like that's my happy place, really.
It's like a social networking, I guess, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, do you get talents from it? Does it help your football at all?
I wouldn't say it helps really. It just calms you down more, really. Yeah.
Do you play football games on it, or?
Yeah, FIFA, NBA, Call of Duty. There's loads of different games on there.
There's a bit of challenge in the dressing room, then, is there? Who else is there? Who else are the gamers?
Tiano plays. Jimmy. Fair, everyone, a lot of players play. Yeah.
There was a time, wasn't there, where there was a bit of a worry that some players were getting addicted to it and all the rest of it. Is that something you think about and trying to avoid?
I wouldn't say it's more of an addiction, because if like I was told to stop playing, I wouldn't like be in trouble. Like I'd happily be able to stop, but like it's more just something I find fun, so that's why I play.
Well, you're young enough, I guess, aren't you?
Yeah.
And the other thing I heard was that you're a bit of a fashionista.
Yeah.
And you love your fashion. What's your style? What's
more like the American drip. That's the word, drip.
Okay.
It's like
Is it?
American fashion. I like my baggy stuff, my baggy jackets. Like I just like the baggy fits, really. I'm not really a skinny jeans or like a tight top kind of guy.
You remember sort of Dominic and oh God, can't think of his name. Tom Davis, yeah. We remember though, they were like really into their fashion, weren't they? And is that something that attracts you? You know,
I don't think I'm like. I feel like some of their outfits were a bit like. I wouldn't say too much, because I like them. I do think like they look good in them, but I'm not that deep into it. But I do like my fashion. Yeah.
Well, football is very much part of the fashion industry now, isn't it? You know, I mean, are you aware of that as a player, that you have to look at those other sides? Years ago in my day, for instance, football was just you come in, train, play your game, and go home.
Yeah.
But now there's so much more to it, isn't there, as a player?
Yeah, definitely. But to be fair, like on a normal day-to-day basis, I'm not really too bothered about what I wear. But like if I'm going out or something, that's where I'll give it a bit of a go. Yeah.
Well, if you need any advice on Matalan or Primark, I'm your man. So just remember that. Just a few quick fire questions, if that's okay. The best dresser in the
besides me, probably James Garner.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What's his talent?
He's he likes his baggy stuff as well, so that's why I like it. Now he does come in some nice outfits.
I was going to ask you who the worst one is, but that's unfair, really, isn't it? But who's the loudest in the dressing room?
Probably Jack. Yeah. I've said to him, to be fair, he needs to mute himself now and then, but yeah, probably Jack.
Is that possible?
Who knows?
And the quietest?
The quietest? Probably Tyler.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually quite an interesting point, really, because he's a young lad. I know you're a young lad, but you
Yeah.
sort of, he has that look of a young lad, doesn't he,
Yeah.
who needs help. And is that something that the other players will get
Yeah,
around?
obviously, like everyone like does their best to like involve him and stuff, and obviously he's settling in, but it's just gonna take time to just get more out of him. But that's everyone's different on this, so yeah.
What's your ambition in the game?
Is in
Everything. What's the ultimate for you? What are your goals?
I don't really set like long-term goals. I'm more of a just take it day by day and just doing all I can to better myself every day. Yeah.
And just finally, Christmas is coming around the corner. Do you do much at Christmas? Do you celebrate Christmas a lot?
Yeah, I do celebrate. I'll probably just go back home, spend it with my family back in Birmingham. Yeah.
It sounds like family is a big thing to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, it's great to speak with you, Tim. I appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time,
Thank
mate.
you very much.
Thanks very much. Well, there we go. That was Tim Iroegbunam, and I think you'll agree with me. He's certainly a lovely guy, and I wish him all the best at Everton as well. And hopefully things really happen for him at the club. Also, while we say we've got a great competition, I mean, as you know, we've got our brilliant Christmas competition where you're going to get 2 tickets to come to a game with myself and Tony, but also as to go along with that interview with Tim, we've got this great shirt signed by him, this Everton shirt signed by him on the top there. So if you want to win that, all again you have to do is like and subscribe on YouTube to the Added Time podcast, and you can win that shirt. Now we're going to look at our predictions now, To. Now we're going. Obviously, there's games whilst we're recording. There's games being played in the week, so we will skip past those games, and we'll have a look at next weekend's fixtures. And we'll start. Now this is an interesting game for me. Villa Park. It's a 12:30 kickoff against Arsenal. So Aston Villa, Arsenal. What do you see? I mean, is this one that Villa are on a bit of a run, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they'll be pumped up. I think Villa are punching above the weights right now, being that high up the league. Fair play to the manager, turning it all round. But I think, like I thought with Everton with Newcastle, I think it's just a step too far for them. And I think Arsenal will have to soak up a lot of early bombardment. But then I just think their little bit of quality in the final third will see them to a 2-0 victory.
2-0 victory. Okay. Well, I must say, the scores so far, by the way, we must mention this, and she's not here today, sadly, to take the plaudits, but Claire has gone into the lead. She's got 9 points. I think the Liverpool result helped her. She's got 9 points. You have 8 points, and I'm sadly trailing. As you said last week, I'd peaked too early, and I'm on 7 now. So, so there's work to be done for me. So we'll get Claire's predictions, and we'll add them to them as we go through the week. But I'm going for, like you, an Arsenal victory, but I'm going for 2-1 because I think Villa will score, and I think they'll score early on. But I think Arsenal will come back. The next game, Bournemouth against Chelsea at the Vitality.
Yeah, Bournemouth threw away at a lead up at Sunderland, didn't he? Probably kicking themselves, aren't they? Not seeing something through there. So I think they'll have a good week's training.
Don't forget they've got Everton in midweek as well.
That's right, we're missing that game, yeah. But yeah, that does change a lot of things, that Al.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it'll be a packed house. I think Bournemouth are going to nick the 3 points out.
Yeah, what you're saying, score
I'm
one?
going to say they're going to win 2-1.
2-1. Well, do you know what? I'm thinking the same as you. Not so much the scoreline, but certainly the result, because I look at Chelsea and I think they're a really good side, but they're inconsistent. And they don't seem to cope with the pressure when they're under pressure. Although they did on at the weekend when they played Arsenal, but I do think the Bournemouth atmosphere, it's a tight ground. I don't think it'll suit the Chelsea players, so I'm going for a 2-0 victory there. I can't see Chelsea scoring. The next one's a really interesting one: Everton, Nottingham Forest. The return of Mr. Dyche.
Yeah, and I said the other week, Dyche going to Anfield, we can see him getting something. I didn't think they were going to win 3-0, don't get me wrong.
No.
But I thought he'd get something. He'll be desperate to get something at Everton.
Yeah.
Right, he'll be desperate. But I think Everton will have too much. I think the fans will drive them home. I don't think Forest are a great team. I don't think they're a Newcastle. Um, so I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory for
Okay.
Everton.
3-1 victory. Okay. Well, I'm going to say an Everton victory as well, purely because for the reasons
You
you've
copying
said.
me out?
I am this
Yeah,
week, it
that's good.
seems, but I'm going for 2-0 because I think you're right. I think the crowd will make a difference. I think but you're right. Sean Dyche will be coming and he'll do everything to try and get a result because he'll want to show the Everton fans what he can do. With the way it all ended at Everton, but I do think Everton just will be too
Yeah.
strong, and again, it'll be dependent. We don't know at this point as we record, how they got on at Bournemouth, so
Of course, yeah.
that might change, the way we look at that game. But anyway, so that's what I'm going for. Okay, Manchester City Sunderland. This is a really interesting game, isn't it? Because are Sunderland the real deal? They came back again.
Yeah.
They keep defying the odds, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I wrote them off a couple of weeks ago, Sunderland, and then they come back from 2-0 down against Bournemouth, don't they? Which I never seen. So they've obviously got a bit of resilience. The manager has instilled some resilience
Yeah,
into them. But no, can't see,
can't see it.
can't see it.
But are Man City the Man City that we
No.
think they are as well? I
Well, Man
mean,
City and they set the bar so high, didn't they? Which
mm,
is what I've been saying
yeah, I
for a while.
suppose so. Yeah,
Liverpool a few years ago set the bar so high. I
mm,
mean, they were getting 199 points.
yeah,
Coming second.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Crazy.
the,
Yeah,
the the bar was so high. This City team won't come anywhere near that. In the same way, the Liverpool team doesn't come anywhere near the team
yeah.
that
That
I
was
seen a
chasing
few
them.
years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But I still think City. I actually think City are the best team in the league still, even
Yeah,
though
on
Arsenal
the
are
day.
top.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for a comfortable City win. Even though I said a comfortable win last week against
Yeah,
Leeds, which it wasn't,
yeah.
I'm going to say City will win this game 6-1.
Wow.
Mm. Have you found that amusing, Al?
Well, I just think
Well,
I tell you what, as they used to say
well,
on Family Fortunes, if it's 6-1, I'll give you the money myself.
well, okay.
But it's. I mean, listen, you wouldn't rule it out with City. You don't get me wrong.
Well, you
I,
sort of
I,
did, Al. You just sort of have ruled it out.
yeah, what makes you think that? But no, I mean, I think City will win. I think you're right. And in fairness to you, City did get. I think they did get 4 goals, didn't they, against Leeds? But they won. Was it 4-2? Was it in the end? Was it? Or was it 3-2 in the end? Oh, it was 4-2. Okay, so I can't remember now. But yeah, so I'm going for a City win, but I'm going for something like 3-1. I think, rather than a bit more realistic. 6-1.
Well,
6-1 is.
we'll see, won't we, Al?
I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm bringing you a box of chocolates.
Yeah,
If City wins 6-1, I'm bringing you chocolates. Okay, let's move on to. There's a lot of games on Saturday, actually. Newcastle Burnley. I mean, can you see anything but a Newcastle win here?
Well, Burnley, I always talk about how the game's going to go, don't I? It's very hard because I do think Newcastle are on that roll now as well, where I think they're finding victories. They're coming by victories. I think the fans can feel something in the stadium. I do think Burnley are going to be one of them teams who grind out results, and I think the manager will grind out results, but I don't think it'll be this weekend. So I can't see anything but a Voltemade hat-trick.
Right, you're going 3-0?
3-0, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I can't see anything but a Newcastle win. I don't see Burnley scoring, so I'll go a little bit more conservative. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah.
So that's my one for that one. Now here's an interesting one. Thomas Frank, his old team coming to Spurs, and Spurs, you just don't know where they are, do you, at the moment? I didn't expect them to get beat by Fulham, I'll be honest with you, in my last week's predictions, but I'll go first on this one. I actually think Brentford beat Spurs. I think there will be a lot of pressure on Spurs. There seems to be, for the reasons we talked about earlier, with the goalkeeper and players coming out having to go at the fans and the manager sort of questioning the fan. I don't think the atmosphere will be great, and I think if Brentford get on the front foot early on, they could put Tottenham under a lot of pressure. Because I actually don't think Tottenham are a bad side, to be honest. They play some good football, but I can see a 1-0 win for Brentford here.
Yeah. And I can see where you're coming from there. Brentford are overachieving what we thought. Maybe not what they thought, but what we thought, didn't we? I think they won on the weekend. By form, and especially with them Tottenham losing to Fulham, you are sort of siding with Brentford, but me football head is on, and it always comes back to bite you a little bit, and mentions about all the things like you just mentioned about Tottenham,
Mm.
about the players, and I mentioned galvanising last week, didn't I, Al?
A few times,
A
yeah.
few times, and I've got a feeling they would have been looking at that result against Fulham and thinking that's not good enough for Tottenham, regardless of what we all thought and felt sorry for ourselves. And I don't see Brentford beating them.
Right, okay.
Right. So for that
See there being
reason,
a reaction
I
then.
see them being a reaction after the Fulham defeat. Sometimes it takes one of them defeats to sort of kickstart you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I get that, yeah.
And I'm going to say Tottenham are going to comfortably win that game 3-1.
3-1, okay. And as I say, we'll get Claire's predictions through the week, and we'll add them to the list. Final game on the Saturday is Leeds against Liverpool. We talked about this earlier. It's at Elland Road, so I suppose if there's it's evening, so it'll be dark, and if there's a glimmer of hope for Leeds, do you think in this one it's because of that? It's at Elland Road. It's it's under the lights.
Yeah, no, I can hear that. It's tough, isn't it? Who have Leeds just played? They just played Man City, haven't they?
And put up a good showing, in fairness.
Put up a good show, and they've got a tough midweek game, haven't they?
Yes.
And then they've got Leeds, then they've got Liverpool on the Saturday. Liverpool have just beat West Ham away. I can't go anything, but I think Liverpool will beat them out. I think if Leeds are going to stay up, I don't think it's nicking a point off Liverpool that's going to keep them up.
Well, Leeds have got, Chelsea, as you say, you've got a difficult game in the week. They've, the manager's under a bit of pressure, to say the least. And you wonder whether or not if they lose in midweek, which is highly likely to Chelsea, where does that leave Daniel Farke? I mean, do they give him the Liverpool game? I don't know. So what's your scoreline for?
I'm going to say Leeds will get exploited, and I think Liverpool will beat them 3-0.
Okay. Well, I'm going with Liverpool win. That won't surprise you. And I think, again, it'll be a 2-0 win. I think Liverpool, once they get to 2-0, they'll probably just make sure they see the game out, because I think they're in that frame of mind now that they can't take chances in games. So okay, so that's the Saturday. So quite a big list of games on the Saturday. On the Sunday, just the 2 games, because we won't do the Monday game. I think it's Wolves against Manchester United. We can't do that because we're into the next podcast. But on the Sunday, intriguing one at Brighton against West Ham United.
Do you know it's a tough game?
Brighton are doing well, aren't they? In fairness.
Yeah, Brighton and Brentford are 2 teams who, at the moment, consistently keep doing well, don't they? No matter when they change the manager or change personnel, they seem to keep churning out results and finding players.
Yeah.
So that game, I don't know. I mean, logically, you think Brighton are going to turn them over, don't you? But I'm going to go for a draw now.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a dogged West Ham performance and a 1-1 draw.
Okay, I like it. A 1-1 draw. I can't see anything but a Brighton win, to be honest. It's a little bit of a derby, this as well, for some reason. I don't know why. I know the big one is Crystal Palace, but they seem to, they're not far away from each other in geographical terms. But I just can't see. I think Brighton are strong, especially at home. And that I can see them winning 2-0 quite comfortably against West Ham. And the final game of the weekend for us is Fulham against Crystal Palace. Now, again, you look at Fulham; they were resilient against Spurs. When Spurs got a goal back, I thought, there we go. This could end up bad for them. But they stuck in. They defended well. So I found Fulham a really difficult team to predict this season. That they're so inconsistent, and so on their day they're brilliant. I mean, we watched them at the Hill Dickinson, didn't we? And we felt that they looked like they were going to score every time they went forward. They were vulnerable at the back, but I think I've got a feeling Crystal Palace is just dropping off at the moment. So I'm going to go for a Fulham 2-0 win on that one.
Well, I want to go with you. For all the reasons you just said, I think Fulham. Crystal Palace, to me, look like they are dropping off a little bit.
You just sense it, don't you?
Just sense it, yeah. I mean, I think that manager's done fantastic.
Yeah.
I really like the manager, and I like Crystal Palace as a football team. I think going to Fulham derby game, I think it'll be high energy. I think young King will have something to do with the
Yeah.
final result. And I'm going to go with a 2-1.
2-1 win for Fulham.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are predictions. If you want to predict the scores for a week, the end of this week, so we'll be talking about it on the Monday podcast next week. By all means, make some comments on the YouTube channel. Just before we go, we're going to remind you of this competition where we saw Tim Iroegbunam in the interview we showed a little bit earlier. This is the shirt that you can win, signed by the man himself. All you have to do is like and subscribe. And Tony, we love a little competition on the Added Time podcast, don't we? And next week, we're going to be talking about this book, and it's Joe Cole.
Okay.
And you'll have the chance to win this in next week's podcast. And it's Joe Cole, and he's called it Luxury Player.
Yeah.
And I think I've had a brief look through it. The suggestion is that he was always seen, or a lot of the time in his career, he was seen as a luxury player. I think you had a little bit of that when you played as such,
Yeah.
and I think the sign of what they call a luxury player in a negative way is when there's somebody's come off to try and tighten up a game.
Yeah.
It's usually the luxury player that comes off, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I mean, people used to call Kevin Sheedy a luxury player, but it's a bit naughty, that, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a term that's being used. It's normally a term used for the best players, to be honest with you. The footballers. Joe was a brilliant footballer.
He was,
wasn't he?
yeah.
You go back to Matt Letizia.
Yeah.
Luxury player.
Yeah.
You flick it over your head, keep it up 3 times, put it in the top corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I played with at Burnley a guy called Robbie Blake.
Yeah.
Luxury player. Scored you all your goals.
Yeah.
0-0. He put a 20-yard in the top corner. So your luxury players are nearly always your best players, aren't they? I think played with Anders Limpar.
Yeah.
And if you look at Anders and you watch him play, you go, well, he doesn't defend. Okay. But
is that the definition of a luxury player? Yeah.
I think it almost is. They don't do. They're not
There's
very
something
good.
they don't do.
Yeah, it's not. They're not very good without the ball. They're normally brilliant with the ball, but
Yeah.
without the ball, they're not very good.
Yeah.
But I remember Joe saying to Anders, "I don't want you to tackle. I just want you to get back into a shape.
Yeah.
You just get back into it when they got the ball, and I'm happy.
Give the team shape.
And he made it really clear that I'm happy with you doing that.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And but your luxury players, you turn up and pay money to go and watch them. Was Gazza a luxury player?
Yeah.
What a player. He do everything.
But it's this definition, I think, and we'll explore this next week.
It's actually a great topic.
It is.
I could talk about luxury players all day long.
Well, we've named about 15 already. So what we'll do is we'll if you want to write in or comment on our YouTube channel or Spotify or anywhere on who you think luxury players were and whether you think that's a fair term or not. Tony, next week we'll look at it in detail and I'll have read the whole book by then and
open it up to foreign as well.
Oh yeah, it's every player.
Because one of my favourite players growing up watching was Georgie Hadji.
Yes,
the Romanian.
Yeah,
luxury player.
I'm gonna name one Ali Benabia.
Ali Benabia.
Yeah, luxury player.
Man City fans will.
Was there any non-luxury players?
Well,
that's another story, isn't
under
it?
Kevin Keegan, maybe.
That's
luxury players.
That's another story. Well, listen, I hope you've enjoyed this edition, and don't forget, get involved with these competitions because there's some great prizes: the Tim Iroegbunam shirt, and also our great Christmas competition. And hopefully, we'll see you next time on the Added Time podcast. But for now, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.